Abraham Lincoln once said, prosperity is the fruit of labor. It begins with saving money. Welcome to Money Matters. I'm your host, Faith Katai. Today we are looking at saving, investing money. My guest in the studio is a financial literacy educator, Esther Phiri. Esther, welcome to Money Matters once more.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Okay. Just to start with, why is saving and investing money such an important thing or an important step towards financial security?
So actually, saving and investing are amongst the pillars of wealth creation. So there are 5 pillars, and saving and investing are amongst the pillars of wealth creation. So essentially, in order for you to create wealth, you need to have an income, and from that income, you need to take out some of that money and put it into a venture that will be profitable. So these are what we'd call part of the pillars of wealth creation, because money doesn't come from nowhere. It has to come from somewhere. So once you earn, which is the first pillar, now you have to save and invest in order for that wealth to grow itself. So the first part is earning. Then you save. Then after you save, you invest. That is how wealth is created. And it's important to talk about these things in our society to demystify them, because you hear sentiments such as no valley panda, where is this money coming from? But there are actually systems in which wealth is created, and saving and investing what allow you to be able to build from the income which you have already earned.
Great.
Yes.
So many people struggle these days to actually save consistently. What simple habits can people develop actually to start building their saving culture?
Yes. So one important thing to note is that most people assume that in order for you to be able to save, it has to be a lot of money. But even scripture tells us those who are not faithful even over a little, they'll not be faithful over much. So you find there are people who are high income earners, but they're still finding themselves maybe consistently broke. They have no savings, they have no emergency fund. So the first thing you need to do is demystify the fact that saving is for the wealthy. That's the first thing. The second thing you need to do is to be faithful over the little that you do make. So have a system in place such that even if it's just a 500 kwacha, let's say you've made that week, you save maybe even 50 kwacha. And then we have systems in place, not to preempt our conversation, I know we'll get there at some point. It's things to do with, like mobile money. We have systems in place where you can save even 20 kwacha, 30 kwachas. So immediately you get the money, send it into an account that you don't have easy access to. So the moment the salary hits your account, don't wait to say, maybe I'll do it tomorrow, because emergencies come. And then not even just emergencies, impulses come on your way home from work. Okay, let me just stop at Hungry Lion. Let me stop and get a pizza. At your coworker is selling new wigs, you're buying the hair. So you have to be the kind of person who says like, okay, I've received this money, let me put it away immediately. So the most disciplined people are people who don't have to rely on their discipline most of their times, but instead they rely on a system. If you have a bank account, you can even set up a deduct, an automatic deduct, to say on this particular date, this is when I get my salary. The bank immediately deducts and puts it in a savings account, which maybe doesn't even have an ATM card. Because some of these financial systems which are put in place to be convenient for us, the ATM cards or mobile banking, they can sometimes be detrimental if you don't have the discipline. So if there's no ATM card, it will be difficult for you to go to the bank, start writing a letter to say, okay, I want to withdraw from this savings account, which I said I'll only withdraw from in 6 months' time. So it's best that you put the systems in place.
So one would ask, Esther, I don't have a consistent salary or an income that I can use to save. What would you say to them?
Whenever the money does come, yes, whenever it does come, that's when you save. Yes.
Okay.
So the moment it comes, save it. It's not about to say like it comes on a specific date. It's just the moment you receive it, you put it aside. Yes.
Okay. So how should individuals actually balance saving for immediate needs like school fees, rentals, with long-term goals such as retirement?
Yes. So the money needs to sit in different wallets or different bank accounts. The beauty is that you're not limited to having one account. You can have a mobile money account with all the 3 network providers. You can have different bank accounts, and then you can say, immediately you receive your salary, you say, okay, my son needs to have his school fees in the next three months. We need to pay for school fees again. So every month you remove 1,000 from your salary. If the school fees are 3,000, you remove 1,000 from your salary and you take it into a bank account where you are saving for school fees. And for those who don't have like bank accounts, you can use the envelope systems. So the envelope system is where you write what that particular money is for. And this is particularly useful for people who are earning on the lower income bracket. So that psychologically, every time you pull money out of that envelope, you know what is suffering. I have an envelope, let's say, for tithe. You have another envelope for school fees, another envelope for rent. I receive my salary, let's say, 2,000 kwacha. Tithe 10% is 200 kwacha. I put the 200 in the tithe envelope. Maybe my rent is 800. I put my 800 in the rent envelope, such that if I want to buy a luxury and it's not in one of those envelopes, I have to physically pull money out of one of the envelopes. So psychologically, I'm already being reminded that something is going to suffer, and what is going to suffer as a result of me spending on something I'm not supposed to.
Wonderful. So any practical tips that you would suggest as a financial educator on how people can avoid actually dipping into their savings unnecessarily and stay committed to their financial goals? Because I feel like the way you have suggested, saving using envelopes, don't you think it's more tempting?
It is tempting. At some point, you can put systems in place, as many systems as possible, but it will get to a point where now it's between you and your discipline and you and your long-term goals. You have to train yourself to be a long-term thinker. You do. You have to train yourself to be a long-term thinker. And sending money, I'll keep on saying this because I think it applies to most of the questions which you've asked in this interview. And that is the fact that, like, you have to be a person who has systems in place, as many systems as possible. Yes. So I know that saving in envelopes is still tempting, but maybe if you can find like institutions, I know we had touched on, we're supposed to touch on retirement in the other question. So if you can find institutions which can help you with that. So for instance, certain banks have bank accounts which don't even have charges on them. So you can go to the commercial banks and say, okay, I want to put my money into a bank account where I'm only allowed to withdraw it after 6 months. And then you can go to a pension scheme. We have NAPSA and we also have private pensions. And then you can get into an agreement with some of these private pensions or investment firms where you are saving towards a 20-year goal and you cannot withdraw out of that particular savings or investment vehicle before that 20-year period. So that allows you to be able to stay disciplined by not having access to those funds.
Awesome. Do you think saving money in a mobile money wallet or digital banking is a good way of saving?
Absolutely, absolutely. The thing with mobile money is that it's allowed the underserved communities to finally have access to banking and financial services. So it really touches on the aspect of inclusivity. Everybody is included because almost everybody has a phone now. So even those who are in remote areas, it's even people who are lower income bracket earners, and it's also people who may not have access to financial information, because one of the barriers to people investing is feeling left out, especially people who may not have attained a certain level of education. They may feel shy to approach these big institutions, but they won't feel shy to approach their local mobile money agent and say, how do I save here? You know, how do I deposit money in this? So it's allowed people to have access to financial services. And the mobile money sector is really a booming sector of financial services. So it's an excellent idea. And you actually find that all mobile money operators in Zambia have sort of like investment service on them. So that allows you to be able to grow the money, save it, and have discipline because you can't withdraw. So it's
Awesome.
excellent.
Okay. So at what point, Esther, should someone move from saving to investing? And how do they know they are ready that this time now I think I've saved, let me invest in
Okay.
this?
So you first start by saving for an emergency fund. You start building an emergency fund. So safely you can say maybe I've built up an emergency fund of 6,000 if my salary is 2,000, because that's 3 months of an emergency fund. Why this is important is because if an emergency was to hit, you go straight into your savings. So build up the emergency fund first to say, okay, I have 2 to 3 months worth of a salary. Yes. Then after that, you start to put it into an investment vehicle.
Okay, great. We now go on a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. If you have just joined us, you are watching Money Matters, a program designed to equip you with knowledge and tools to make informed financial decisions. And my guest today on set is a financial literacy educator, Esther Phiri. Esther, investing can feel intimidating sometimes, yeah, especially for beginners. What are the safest and most accessible investment options that we have in Zambia that you can recommend as a financial literacy educator?
Indeed. So, first of all, with beginners, I'll start with a word of caution and advice before I start to talk about these investment options. So the first thing you need to know as a beginner in investing is that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Most people find themselves falling into a scam because they want quick growth, immediate gains. So you find that somebody promises you, I'm going to grow your money by 50% in the next 1 week. Where are these gains coming from? So the first thing is, don't invest in anything that is promising you immediate gains quickly. 2, do due diligence. Due diligence is simply asking the important questions, doing your background checks. If it's an investment firm or a company that says, can we put capital into this? Are they registered by PACRA? If they're an investment management firm, are they registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission? Are they registered with the Bank of Zambia? If it's sort of financial services, are they regulated by the Bank of Zambia? Are they listed on the Lusaka Securities Exchange if they claim to be a publicly listed company? And then with ZRA, are they paying their taxes? So the first step before you invest anything, due diligence, ask the important questions. The next step is don't invest in anything that you do not understand. So some people use a lot of jargon and complicated words to try and intimidate people who may not have like the financial education, and then you'll be intimidated to ask the questions. But don't be. Let them break it down for you, understand exactly what you're investing in and the risks involved. And the third thing that I'll give as a word of advice before suggesting some investment vehicles is that you have to really take your time and consider your options and what is available to you at your current income level. So we've talked about due diligence, and we've talked about understanding the risks and understanding the business. Now I'm going to talk about the investment vehicles which are sort of available to people who are starting to invest, which offer lower risks. So the first one and the most obvious one is government securities. So government securities, put in layman's terms, these are debt instruments which are issued by the central bank. So to break it down even further, the government needs to borrow in order to finance the national budget. They do this by issuing government bonds. So government bonds and treasury bills. The difference between government bonds and treasury bills is the tenure of investment. So government bonds are beyond 1 year, it's a 2-year period. Treasury bills are 364 days, they're less than 1 year. Yes, so government bonds and treasury bills are a system where you register on the investor portal for the Bank of Zambia. Even an individual can do it for themselves. And then the Bank of Zambia is also always available to be able to register you when you go there. So the government makes it very easy for even laymen to be able to participate in this. So why this is safe is that the government pays. The safety of the financial institution, the financial system in Zambia is based on the Bank of Zambia itself. So they cannot fail to pay. They must meet their obligations. So this is safer because it's a government. The government is not going anywhere. So debt instruments issued by the central bank are a relatively safe instrument for you to invest in. The other option that beginners could start with are what we call unit trusts. So let me explain a unit trust in layman's terms. So let's say you and I, Faith, we have money, but we don't know what to put it into, and we're not experts in investment, securities, or the stock exchange. We then find a third friend, let's call them Chola. Chola is an expert in investing, and they are well registered, Securities and Exchange Commission, Bank of Zambia, everything, they have their paperwork. So what they do is that they collect money from you, they collect money from me, a group of us, they collect money from us, and then they start investing it. They can invest in a government security, maybe they can buy shares on the stock exchange, they can invest in foreign markets, and they can invest in the housing and property market as well. So that is a basic definition of a unit trust. And why is a unit trust beginner friendly? One, they provide a fund manager who understands the market, and two, the entry level is relatively low. So you find that certain unit trusts to allow you to invest as low as 50 kwacha. Okay. And then this firm has collected 50 kwachas from a lot of people. That's why it's a collective investment scheme. They've collected 50 kwachas from a lot of people, and then they take those 50 kwachas and then they invest them, let's say, in the stock exchange, or they buy government securities from the Bank of Zambia.
Awesome.
Yes.
So we have seen a lot of village banking and savings groups in our country, Zambia. They are so popular nowadays. What are the benefits and risks of joining such groups?
So the benefits of joining a village banking group are that it's good peer pressure. Because you've seen, okay, my friend is saving, I'll also be saving. And then there's accountability because we, let's say, have these meetings as a village banking group. Every weekend, we're reminding ourselves to say, okay, you borrowed, have you paid back? Okay, this was your saving goal, have you reached it? So there's that accountability in the group. And then because they, unlike traditional banking systems where you pay the interest to the bank, in a village banking group, the interest comes back to you. So you're benefiting from your own interest. Now, the risk which are involved, which is quite unfortunate, is we have seen situations where the chair runs away because a lot of these groups are unregulated. Some of them are not registered as cooperatives. There's no constitution. Nobody signed anyway. It's just he said, he said, he said. No, I gave you. No, you didn't give me. No, I gave you. You get what I mean?
Okay.
So the risks involved that it's because a lot of them are unregulated and unregistered, people can easily run away. But how to mitigate this risk is to have a bank account. And also some have gone ahead and registered their groups as cooperatives. So they're saving amongst themselves as a cooperative, and also have a paper trail. Sometimes, if it's possible, send the money to the chair of the group through mobile money or through your bank. There's that transaction ID. Somebody can't refuse to say, no, you're not saving with us. Because it's a transaction ID. You go back to Airtel and say, this is the money I gave you. Then also sign. Verbal contracts have the tendency to be problematic because not everybody is very honest.
Okay, so how can young people, Esther, be encouraged to start saving and investing early, even before they earn a steady income?
Towards compound interest. A person who started saving when they were 20, let's say 20 years ago, they were saving, let's say maybe 100 kwacha, has gained more interest over time because they started saving a long time ago. So their investment started earning interest a long time ago. They're making more in interest than a person who started saving today when they're 40 years old. So the benefits of the interest accruing like over time. Because let's say I save 1,000 kwacha. On that 1,000 kwacha, let's say there's 10% interest. So they pay that 10% interest, and now I have 1,100. On that 1,100, another 10% interest earned, it will be more money and more money, because it will be more interest on more interest on more interest. So there's a beautiful compounding effect that applies over time. But this is not to discourage people who have not saved while still younger. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is today. The past is gone, the future is yet to come. Time present is the only time which you actually have.
Wow. Okay, so as we come to the end of the program, if you could give viewers one golden rule about saving and investing money, what would it be, Esther?
Save first. Don't spend and then save. Save first. The moment the money hits your bank account, don't rely on discipline. Don't say you do it later. We have all these systems. Your bank is on your phone right now. You have mobile money on your phone right now. Send the money where it needs to go immediately. Save first.
Okay. Thank you, Esther, for coming through to the program. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you in studio.
Viewers, we have heard saving and investing are the foundation stones of financial security. That's all we had for you on Money Matters. On behalf of the entire Zanis production team, this has been Faith Katai. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.